koutou katoa, tā alofa lava, ma loi lelei ni Zambula Vinaka, whakalofa lai atu, ki orana, and welcome to Pacific to Nations. My name is Louis Bonifacio, and these video series that we're producing, and we're hoping that it will encourage, inspire, and mobilize our Pacific people for global missions. Today we have Sapati, Graham, and also Phil with us, and we will just be sharing about Pacific to Nations and also missions.
Well, thank you, Pastor Louis, for that mihi. And we're on location here at Vaughan Park Anglican Retreat Center. And to my left here, I have the lovely and distinguished Phil Richardson, Pastor Phil Richardson from Church Mobilization New Zealand, as well as the lovely Graham Davison from Grace International New Zealand, and Pastor Louis Bonifacio from Life Church Manuera, South Auckland, whoop whoop. It's a privilege and an honor to share the stage with this panel of gentlemen and soldiers of Christ. And now our first question is, can you explain briefly the spread of the gospel in the Pacific?
Yeah, the gospel came to the Pacific in the early 1800s. I think it was early 1817 when John Williams arrived in Raiatea in Tahiti, and with his wife Mary, and from there he started training the people who have come to faith, who have come to the Lord, and send them out to the other islands of the Pacific. So they started sending missionaries to the Cook Islands, 1822 I think, and then from the Cook Islands to Samoa, and also across to the west to the island, to the Kingdom of Tonga. So, and the gospel spread really quickly because with the Pacific culture, once the chief or the ariki of the family or the village says we're going this direction, then the whole family will go down that direction. So when the chief says we are now Christians, we have received the gospel, and then the rest of the family and the village also became lotu, became Christians, or received the lotu, received the gospel.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor. You've touched on partnership between the missionaries and the natives. Can you tell me a little bit about Fowe'a and his influence and impact?
Ooh, you jumped right. Fowe'a and Posese?
Yeah.
Okay. Fowe'a and Posese came with John Williams to Samoa with the other Tahitian missionaries. So when the gospel arrived in Samoa, it was known as the Lotu Tahiti, or the Tahitian church, because it came from Tahiti with Tahitian missionaries. The gospel came to Samoa, well, this is debatable, but it was the Tongans who initially brought the gospel. A man by the name of Saivaia brought the gospel to Savaii before John Williams officially arrived in Samoa in 1830. Saivaia was in Tonga. It was the time when the two missionaries from Tahiti, Hape and Tawheta, went over to take the gospel to Tonga, and it was there that Saivaia was at the time, and also he received the gospel during that time. And so he decided to go back to his family, to Samoa and Savaii, and take this new lotu. And that was 4 years before John Williams actually arrived. And I think it started from there, this whole conflict between the Wesleyan and also the LMS, or the Congregational.
The people who originally received the gospel in those islands of Tahiti and Cook Islands, and then Tonga, and then Samoa, they began to take it to places like Fiji, and even into Melanesia, other parts of Melanesia, Vanuatu and New Caledonia, and up to Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea. And we had a team of people come from our church, from Glen Innes, probably about 5 or 6 different Pacific Island nations represented. And when we were ministering in New Caledonia, they took us to the graves of earlier missionaries, and some of our team members, they saw their Tongan ancestors, they saw their Cook Island ancestors, they recognized them by name. They saw their Samoan ancestors and they recognized them by name. So This is about stirring up that incredible legacy of what Pacific Island people have done in spreading the gospel throughout the Pacific.